we are finally going to rebuild the Forester's engine. We have already taken apart the engine down to the block, and we found that it has spun all of the bearings for the connecting rods, which we kind of figured. We found bearing material in the timing chain area, and so we kind of figured that was going to happen, but we did confirm it by taking the upper oil pan off. Today though, we are finally going to start rebuilding it. Now, we can't reuse that block. We can, but we would have to get a new crank, split the case, and all that. So I decided instead to just get a different block. Now, I bought this block from one of my coworkers who buys Subarus a lot, flips them, makes money, and he had a spare one that was burning oil. He just put pistons and rings in this block. So this is ready to go. All I got to do is transfer this over to the stand, and then we can start putting everything we need on there. And then when we're done, we can finally put it in the Forester and see if we can get it to run. So let me start putting this on there, and we can start building. Okay. Here is the old block. So all we have to do is take this old block off of the engine stand and take off the flex plate and the tone wheel, all of that stuff, put it on this one, and we can slap that back on here. And then we can start putting all of our upper oil pan, lower oil pan, heads, all of that stuff. We can put it back on the engine and get it ready to put in the car. So I'm gonna do that, and we can start doing this. Okay, since we got all of that stuff off that we need as of right now, what we can do is we can start unwrapping this, and I'll flip it over and I'll show you guys exactly how we can do this. Obviously we want to be careful because this is our new block. We don't want to ruin anything on it. Okay, just checking the rear main seal, looks fine. There's no oil or anything, and the separator plate looks fine as well. Like I said, he did put in new pistons and rings on this thing, so it won't burn any oil, and obviously it's not going to have a knock or anything. But right away, this guy is going to go right here. And the crank position sensor is going to go right back to where it was, which is right here. It does look like I kind of cracked the housing a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'll try to get it fairly close to you guys. You can kind of see where I cracked it right here. But that is just the housing. That should be fine. If it's not, then I'll just get a new one. So right now we'll just roll with it, see if it'll work. It should. I didn't damage the sensor, it doesn't seem like, so we're good there. Okay. So both of those are now swapped over. And now what we can do is we can start putting on the tone wheel and the flex plate. So let me bring the camera around and I can show you guys quickly. Actually, I'll just turn this block around. We'll turn the block around. And we can show you guys this way. Okay. All right, so with this here, there is a certain way that you have to install this. Where's my tone? Right here. Here's my tone wheel. This is what the crank position sensor reads. There are these little teeth here, and you have to put this in the right spot, otherwise it will not start. It'll crank and crank and crank, and it will not start because it's not reading it properly. So there is a little dowel pin right here. This little dowel pin, you have to make sure is on the right way. In this hole right here, you can see all these bigger holes, and then you can see the one little hole here. That little hole will go into that dowel pin. If you don't do that, it will not start. And you also want to make sure it's the right orientation. You put it this way. Yeah, it's in the dowel pin, but the wheel isn't close enough to this sensor, so it won't even work. You can see the gap right here. It's not going to work. You have to make sure that it's the right way. So the right way is if you flip it, and boom, and it goes like that. And it's going to end up looking like that. Way closer, almost hitting, but not quite hitting, but it's like right there. And now it'll run, and you won't have any problems with it. You won't have to take it out again, because that's always a headache. And then what you can do is just like what you would normally do. Take your flex plate, it doesn't matter which way it goes. Like this way, it has to go with this side up against the tone wheel. Otherwise, it won't work. It'll just hit. It won't even seat properly. So you have to do it this way. Again, doesn't matter which way it goes. And then you'll have this little wheel here that you can put right back on there. So it'll look like this. And then you can put your bolts in. And then there is a torque spec for these so that they don't fall out. And then I did drop one over here somewhere. All right. Okay, so the torque spec for this is going to be, see if you guys can see this. It's going to be 30 Newton meters. And then when you're done torquing it to 30 Newton meters, it is then 30 to 35 degrees of angle. Now, I have a digital torque wrench. I have the 1/2 inch one, I have the 3/8 one, so I can do it that way. If you don't have one, you'll want to get at least a 3/8 one, Preferably a digital one. Those ones are really nice because it'll do foot-pounds, newton meters, it'll do angle, all that. But if you can't, then just a regular torque wrench, 3/8, and then you'll have to get a dial that'll tell you the degrees. But we are going for 30. So at 30, you should be able to set this down. Now it might spin, so what you might have to do is grab something to hold onto it, which I will grab a pry bar here. Normally there's a tool that you can use to hold this. I don't have it with me, so we'll just do this. And you want to do kind of like a star pattern if you can. Now this bottom one. Then I'll go in a circle just to make sure they're all at the right spec. Okay. And then I can do angle. So it's 30 to 35. I'll do 35. Go at the higher end just to be safe. You want to hold onto the block since it's not being held on by anything. Okay, there's 30. I'm just going to go in a circle, that way you don't forget. Okay. You want to remember which one you start at so you don't over torque them, because I know I started here, and if I would have done another 35 degrees, it would have been way over torqued. So now we have that all done. Now what we can do is we can start putting this bad boy on the engine stand, and then we can start really putting it together. Okay, so again, we're going to want to be careful with the block. We don't want to ruin it at all or anything like that. So we'll put this guy here. Then we'll put this guy here. Tighten those up. Then we'll put the other ones here. Okay, and then we can tighten them back up. Okay. So now we can put this back on the stand. So I'll move this over here. I'll grab the stand quick. All right. So now we obviously don't want to drop this because that would not be good. Kind of using the table as some help. And then it'll flip, that's fine. As long as it doesn't fall on the ground, everything will be fine. Put the pin in, and we have our new block on the stand. Sweet, new block on the stand. Now we can start putting this upper oil pan on. Okay, so here is the the block that we just put on. What you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna make sure if you're using this, if you're redoing your engine and you're gonna use the same block, for Subaru, this isn't for every vehicle, for Subaru, we use RTV or 3-bond, and it'll be on the block, it'll be on the cam carriers, the valve covers, and part of the head. So you want to clean all of that off. I did it at work, just because we have a parts washer and everything. But you want to clean all that off to make it nice and spotless, and then you're going to want to dry it off and make sure there's no oil or anything where the mating surfaces are, because that can affect your sealing point for all of this. So I'm going to just quickly wipe this down, make sure all of these are good. He did torque all these down, he said. I'm just double checking. Everything seems to be good. So let me grab our gasket kit. Now again, me working at Subaru, I have a gasket kit directly from Subaru. Now I believe this comes with most of the stuff you need. I don't think it comes with everything though. What it does come with are these 3 O-rings, and I will show you them here in a second. All right, these 3 O-rings, they're orange. These 3 O-rings that are orange, they're all the same size. 1, 2, 3. Those are going to go in the spots that are obvious. So one here, there'll be one here, and then there'll be one here. Do not forget these. These are very important. What you want to do when you're putting them in, I have a bucket of oil that I use not only to get these seals lubed with oil, but when we torque the heads down, we want to put the head bolts in the oil and all that. So I'll show you that when we get there, but all you got to do, get some oil on your finger, just put it around there. Then you can set them in. You want to do that for each one. Put oil around it. The oil is just so that you don't put them in dry. You don't want to put them in dry. You want to make sure they have a little bit of oil on them, just so they don't tear or anything. And then we have everything that we need right now in here. The next thing we have to do, let me grab it, is put the upper oil pan on. So there's 2 different parts of the oil pan. There's this upper one that'll go on the block, and then there's a lower one that will go on this upper one. Now, for this upper one, you need those 3 O-rings there, and that's it for down here. You will obviously need the 3-bond or RTV, but you want to make sure this is all cleaned, and then you want to grab your bolts. Let me grab the bolts quick. All right, got our bolts, and we have upper oil pan. We have those in, and then we want our 3-bond right here. 1217H is what we use. It's gray, don't know if that matters. And then we'll use our cock gun. So let me open this up. All right. Wipe this down quick. All right, we have it in here. For those of you who haven't used it, super easy. You take this, you just slip it in here, and then you can push this right here, push it down, and you can move that in, and then it's ready. So there is a torquing sequence to this when you put it on, and there's certain spots that you want to put RTV on this. So here is the upper oil pan. So what they want us to do, all the dark black is 3 bond. Is what you want to put on here. I'll show you guys that for a second. So basically, the picture was like this. You're gonna put it from here, and you want it, there's gonna be a lip. You want it in between the top of this ledge and the bottom of this ledge. So right in the middle of this lip, all the way around. You want to go around these, around this, keep going around here. You'll go around here, down to here, and then you'll also do a circle around this right here. I'll show you the end results when I'm done doing it. I just kind of wanted to show you guys that part so you guys can kind of see what I'm going for. When you do put this on, you want to make sure you don't get interrupted or anything, because you have roughly 10-ish minutes, 10 maybe 15, before that starts drying. And if it starts drying, you don't want to put it on there, because then it won't seal properly, so you'll have to scrape all that back off and redo it. So you want to make sure these O-rings are pressed in properly, and you want to make sure when you do it, you will gently put it down so you don't lift these up, because if you lift these O-rings up, it will leak oil, and that will not be good. You do not want that. So let me apply this 3 bond, and then I'll show you guys, I'll have you guys watch me apply it, and then I'll show you kind of the end results. Now again, I've done this a couple times. I actually just did an engine this week as well as last week. So make sure we get our 3 bond out. Ooh. Now Subaru recommends around a 3 millimeter wide thing of 3 bond when you're going around this. The size that I'm currently doing is plenty. I don't know the exact size of what I'm doing right now, but it is plenty for what we need. You don't want too much, but you definitely don't want too little. Too much, you can get it into the actual block, and you don't want that. Too little and it won't seal properly. Just look around real quick, make sure I didn't forget any spots. You got all that, and then you want to go in a circle right around here. Okay, so let me show this to you guys quick. Ugh. So you can kind of see where I put it. All the gray stuff is 3 bond. You want it around it, that circle, and then it goes all the way around like this. Don't want it too thick, don't want it too thin. Again, Subaru recommends about a 3 millimeter bead. So let me move you guys back over to the block. Again, you have roughly 10, maybe 15 minutes to do this, so you don't have to like rush, but you don't want to get sidetracked either when you're doing this. Now, doing this, you want to line up a couple of things. This hole right here there's a pin that goes right here. So you're going to line that up with this. These studs on the back, these will connect to the transmission. So you want these facing the back of the block, or this flex plate that you just put on. And then there's another pin here that you can line up with this hole right here. So what we can do, is I hold it by the water pump, and I hold it by one of these studs back here. And you want to just gently start bringing it down, watching the stud. Okay, I'm on it there. Now this should go down about as easily, just like that. Press it down, and then you can start putting your bolts in. Now there's these 3 long ones, which one is going to go, whoops, sorry, here, one will go here, and then the other one will go here. I'll show you guys that up close quick. It's gonna go here, here, and here, all in a straight line. Make sure it's the same size as the thermostat. It'll just go here, here, and here, and that's all of the long ones. And you can tell the difference because that's the long one and that's the short one. So you can definitely tell a difference in size. So I'll put this down quick. So like I said, those 3, and then it's just a matter of putting all of these smaller ones around. Doesn't matter where they go, they're all the same size after those 3 long ones. And again, there is a torquing sequence and a torquing spec that you do for these. So I will show you guys that and tell you guys what that is. These are 12 millimeters. That one didn't want to go in quite nice. Okay, so let me grab my 3/8 torque wrench. Here is my 3/8, nice and yellow. Got this on the Snap-on truck for a pretty darn good deal. It was used. And then you're gonna want an extension. You don't want a super long one, just something like that. Nothing too crazy, just so you can get in these tighter spaces without having to adjust too much. So now we have that down, and like I said, there is a torquing spec. The spec is going to be 18 Newton meters or 13.3 foot-pounds, and then there is a sequence that you can do. I'll leave that here for a second so you guys can see it. So what we're going to do, I go by Newton meters, so we'll go down to 18 on this guy. So we are down to 18 Newton meters on it. And then we follow this torquing sequence. 1 is going to be down here. 2 will be this. And 13. Okay. So there's 13 bolts that you're going to have to do. So when you torque those down in that sequence, then I just go again in a circle. Just remember where you started. And this is just to make sure that when you were torquing it down the first time, the very first one that you torque doesn't loosen up a little bit, just to make sure these are all good, which they are. And just like that, we have our upper oil pan done and installed, which is sweet. And then we have our thermostat, we have our lower oil pan. I think I'm gonna wait for those, just in case we get anything inside of here. It has a bigger opening to fall out and not just right into the oil pan. So what I'm gonna do is we are now going to turn this whole thing have this off. Okay, there we go. All right, take that off and we'll just turn this like so. All right, and like I said, you can even see that the pistons are marked and they look brand new because he put new pistons in. So that's cylinder 2 and 4, which would be the driver's side. So that means we would need the driver's side head, which, let me grab that quick. Now obviously we still have to put the head gaskets on and all that, so we're not quite there yet. I'm just getting everything set up. But I'm gonna wipe all this down quick. And it looks like he wiped it down, which is nice. It looks really good and clean. Toss that there. Now the nice thing, a lot of people are like, oh, how are your head gaskets on your Subaru? That isn't, I mean, it is still a thing. They do go out like any car, not as often as you might think. They are now out with a multi-layer steel, which is a lot better than the stuff that we used before in the early 2000 cars. So that joke is not funny anymore, people. Okay, I have 3 Subarus, not funny. But the way you can tell, again, right here on this head gasket, there is an L. So you can see that, that's the left-hand side. And then when you put it down, you're gonna wanna make sure it's not this way, or anything like that. You wanna make sure it's just like this. And you can see how it sits. It sits really well. It'll go right onto these pins right here, these coolant passageways, and all of these will be open. You can see how that goes. Now, like I said before, we will have to put a little bit of 3-bond in here. It's not a lot. So I can show you guys with this. So here is the left-hand side. So this is the side that goes onto the block, and this is the side that you'll look at. This is the side that will go on the block here, and then this is the side that is going to be up against the cylinder head. So they only want a little bit in this top corner here, and a little bit on this bottom corner here, and then the same on the other side, just on the opposite side. So it'll be right here. So from right here up to here, up to this corner here, and then it'll be here all the way down to here is what you'll put it to. And then you'll do the same on the other side, where it's here up to here, and then here up to here. I'm going to take the cam carrier off quick, because as I've told you guys before, you're going to want to take the cam carrier off, which goes on top and holds the cams. You want to take that off before you put the head on, so that you can torque the head, because that would not be good if you couldn't torque the head down. So I only am holding this by a couple bolts. Here, I think, is that it? I think that's it. So what I can do is I will grab this guy, and we will try to just quickly open this up. Oh no, I do have one more. I have one right in the middle. Right there. Now it should. There we go, pop right up. Come on. Okay, got the cam carrier off. You want to be very careful with the head, because you do not want to move any of these rocker arms off. You don't want to take any of these shims off. These shims and these rocker arms are in specific spots for a reason. They have them measured out properly for the spec, for the cam lift and all that, valve lift, all that. So you want to make sure you keep all these. You don't want to accidentally drop it. You want to be very, very careful. Over here, we have our bucket full of oil. What you want to do is the thread parts you want to put in oil, because you want to have a little bit of lubricant on there. You don't want to put them in dry. It can affect the threads and all that fun stuff. And then what I also do too, is I'll take them out and I'll flip them and I'll put the head of the bolt in there as well. Now the thing is, you don't want too much oil. Like, you don't want to go right from here and put it in there, because if you do that, you'll have way too much oil on these threads. And when you put it in the hole, that whole entire hole for the head bolts will be filled with oil, and it's not going to torque down properly. So you're going to want to lift it up. And I just kind of shake it a little bit, try and get as much of that off as I can. And I still have a good layer on there, but I don't have a ton to where it's going to fill that hole up and it won't be torqued down properly. But before any of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys the gasket. So here it is. So like I said, you don't need a ton. You just need it from this spot up to this corner, and then this spot to this corner. And then what you can do is you'll just set this down, push it down, and then not only do we use that for sealing purposes, but it will also be used to hold this in. These two pins should hold it in, but just in case, that'll kind of hold it down. And then you want to do the exact same thing just on this side. So you'll do this corner down to here, then you do this corner up to here. And now we're done with the 3 bond. So what we can do is we can lift our head up. You want to make sure that the bottom of your head is nice and clean, which this one has already been cleaned. I can't show you right now because I have the cam carrier off. But those 2 pins are going to go in to 2 holes, and you will see them as soon as you do this. I unfortunately can't show you right now because I already have, like I said, the cam carrier off. And then you can just set it down. And then when you set it down, you are pretty close to getting one side of the head on. So let me grab a couple of these bolts. Again, we'll take them out, but we'll shake them off, make sure there's not a ton in there. Now some of these, they'll have a circle in the middle on the top of the bolt, and some of them won't. It depends on the vehicle. This one, all of them have that little circle on top, which means it doesn't matter where these ones go. There are some that have only 2 that have a circle in the middle and the rest don't. And if that's the case, you want to have those 2 with the circle on top, just like this one. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll show you here when I have these torqued down. But you want to make sure those ones go in the middle, because that's what those ones are for. They go right in the middle. These ones we don't have to worry about because none of them have it. They all have it. So I'm just going to wipe this down. Again, we don't want a ton on there, but just enough. Okay. Now, typically you want to kind of be prepared before you do this. Like, grab your socket so you have it, and make sure you don't not have it, because that would suck if you didn't have the socket and then you put it on and then you're kind of screwed after that. But it's going to be this 12.14 mil. Got this right off of Snap-on truck. And then what we can do is it'll fit right on. We can just get these right down. Unfortunately, I forgot my adapter for my little drill guy, but that's fine. All right, so here's this. And it says right here, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna first torque all, that's a V6 Mustang, yuck. What you're gonna wanna do is torque all of these bolts down to 29 Newton meters in a specific order, which is gonna be 1, 2, and then you'll go 3, 4, 5, 6. So we'll do that first. Change this down to 29 Newton meters, just like that. Hopefully you guys can see that. And then I'm gonna move you guys off to the side a little bit. I'm gonna put my foot down by these wheels. You can try to lock them too. I don't know if mine will lock very well, but you can just do that, and then you can just try and start torquing them. Now 29 isn't a lot, but this is not anywhere near where we're gonna be, because we have to go up to, I think, 100 Newton meters for torquing, and then after 100, then we will do angle. And then we'll do angle again, and then we'll do angle again. 29, and then the final one, 29. So all those are at 29. So then it'll say the next thing you want to do is you want to tighten them in the same order to 100 Newton meters. I will try to show you guys that. Same as the last time for the direction for the sequence. So I'm going to bring this up to 100 Newton meters. We're at 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. And I will show you guys that. We're at 100 Newton meters. And you want to do the same thing. Again, be very careful not to tip this head very far, because if you do, you could knock all of the arms off. Now, of course, mine doesn't want to stay, even with me locking it. So what I'm going to do quick is I am going to grab something to kind of hold it. What I can also do is I can just, I guess, hold this. We're at 84, 100. Do it again. Go with 2. Here. 3 will be here. It's okay if you don't do it exactly the sequence. You just want to make sure that it is in the star pattern. So we go at 1, 2, 3, and then we'll go, if I remember correctly, I do like going through this, but yeah, so it's 1, 2, 3, which means 4 is here, 5's here, 6 is here. So we'll go 4 right here. Again, we still need 100 Newton meters on this. We're at 64. We're at 92 and a half. All right, and then we have 5. And then finally 6. All right, so we got that done. Next, what we want to do is we want to loosen all of those bolts 180 degrees. It sounds weird, but it's just to make sure that all of the bolts are seated properly. So what we can do, in the same order, I'm going to go on the other side quick. So we're just going to go, I could probably go this side. 180. So I'm going to start here, turn it 180. We're going to do that for all of them. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. You can You can do 179. You can do 185. It doesn't matter. Just so that they're all just a little loose. And then you're going to torque all of them in that same sequence to 42 Newton meters. Like I said, there is a lot when torquing these heads. The other side will be the exact same. It'll just be obviously the other side. So let me bring this up to 42. All right, we are at 42. Then we'll go on this side. One, two, three, four, five, 6. Okay. I do, just in case, want to loosen this side up because I feel like I forgot to. So I'll loosen this one up quick. It'll be fine. I just want to make sure that we have them all torqued down to the same spot. Okay. So we're at 42. Now, yes, there is more. Now what we have to do is we have to tighten all of them to 82 degrees, plus or minus 2 degrees. So you can do between 78 and 82 degrees. Obviously, I'm going to go right in the middle at 80. So I will go here. Okay, so we're at 80, and you want to do it in the same order. Got one there, 2, oh wait, no, 3's right here. 3 will be here, then we'll do 4. Then we'll do 5. And then we'll do 6. Okay. Those are all at 80. Now, we want to do just these two middle ones. We want these two middle ones at between 73 and 77 degrees. Again, I'm going to go right in the middle at 75. Just the two middle ones at 75 degrees. So we'll go here. It's going to feel really, really tight, but that's how it's supposed to be. Okay, that's at 75. And then we're going to do the other 4 at between 28 and 32. Again, we're going to go right at 30. And then we'll just go right in the sequence of 3 here, 4 here, 5 here, and 6 here. And just like that, we have officially torqued down this head, which is awesome. So now we have the cam carrier next. So let me get ready for that. So we just did the head, we torqued that all down. So now what we have to do is we have to put the cam carrier on. And it does exactly as it sounds. It is the housing in which it holds the cams onto the head. And there's a couple different things that we have to put not only in the cylinder head itself, but also in the cam carrier. And I'll show you guys that right now, actually. So we are going to need 2 O-rings that go into this head. The two are going to be on the front, towards the front of the engine. So you'll see the water pump here, and you'll see these holes here and here. So these two, those have O-rings in them. So let me grab the gasket kit. And the gasket kit they give you, it's just a bunch of O-rings all mashed in one. So you kind of have to figure out which one goes which. I, again, know which one goes where because I've done this a couple times now. Normally at work they just give you individual ones, but unfortunately we don't have individual ones. I believe these are like, I forget the exact part number. I know the last part is I think 170. But what we'll do is, like I said before, put a little bit of oil on them. Put those in here. They'll fit really nice when you know they're not super thick. They're kind of thin. And they just fit right in here. So we have those in. Now that is all we need for this head. The head is done for now. With this cam carrier, we have a screen that we have to put in here for this cam sprocket. This cam sprocket is oil driven. This one's not. That's why this one's a lot thicker. This one is literally just a gear. So we're gonna have a filter that goes right into this hole right here. And let me show you. Let's see if I even have one. I don't think I have one. It is getting darker. I unfortunately had to wait until my friend Jameson came to give me these screens that we need for the cam carriers. But we got them. So these are what we needed. Let me show you quick. These guys right here. They're just little screens that go in the cam carrier. So let me show you guys what exactly that's going to look like. All right, the cam carrier is right here, and what we want is we want the screen to go right here. The way you can tell where the screen goes is you only get the screens with the cams that are oil driven. This one's thicker, you can see that. This one is just a gear, so you don't have to worry about that. This one has oil that goes through it, so you obviously want to have a filter that goes through there. So I'm going to grab this filter. You want to be gentle with them because they are fragile. It's literally just plastic and a little screen. They're very small, but all you're going to do is just going to set it in there, push it down, and it's done. It's in there. You don't have to worry about it now. I'm going to wipe this down a little bit. All right, we wiped that down, and like I said before, we do also have the two O-rings here and here, and we have those in as well because you want to make sure we have those. With the head, the only thing we'll need the spark tube grommets, which we don't need right now. We can put those on after we put the cam carrier on, but we need this O-ring here and this O-ring here. Other than that, we don't really need anything else here. We just want to make sure that these rocker arms are in properly, that way, and we don't want them falling out. And then with this this cam carrier, we just need that screen right here. Just the one screen, because again, this gear is oil driven. This one is not. You can tell because of the difference. This one's just the gear. That one's huge because it's oil driven. So with the left side cam carrier, they just are trying to tell you to make sure that these rocker arms are in, these O-rings are in, and then we gotta make sure that screen's in. And then it tells us right here how they want us to put the 3-bond. It's gonna be again on that edge, around the entire thing, and then we can put it on. So I will show you guys how we can do that. We are going to start applying this 3-bond. So we're going to start in this corner here. Just going to make our way down. Now again, give or take, you want roughly a 3mm bead. Don't have to be perfect, just something around there. And you want to make sure you go around the whole thing. So we are done there, and it's going to end up looking like this. Let me try to get a light for you guys so you can see a little better. So it's going to go all the way around the edge. And about a 3mm bead. And there we go. Now we can put it on the actual head. Now again, you just want to make sure O-rings are in, which they are, and that screen is in, which it is. And then what we can do, so we'll lift it up. Be careful not to touch the RTV. And we're going to have this little peg here, little post, and then another one right here, this little dowel as well. Those are going to go in this hole here and this hole back here. So I hold it like this, just so I'm not touching it. We're going to get down to eye level, and we're going to make sure it doesn't touch anything besides the surfaces it's supposed to. And obviously you want to make sure the cams are pointed up so that you're not fighting it to go down. Now right there should be it. Now I can push down, and just like that, we have our cam carrier on. Now there's going to be, I believe, 9. There will be 9 bolts that you have to put in. These 9 bolts are 12mm, and you know, they all go to one spot. They're all the same, so you don't have to worry. What I like to do though, the ones that are clearly from the outside, because they're all rusty, and then there's ones that are clean, you want to put the clean ones in the engine, and you want to put the dirty ones out of the engine. It's just the smartest thing to do. So there's the one back here, 1, 2, 3. Then it's 1 here, 2, 3 here, and then it's 1 here, 2, and 3. So 9 total. And then what I can do is I can grab this guy. I'm not hamming on them, just bringing them down. Okay, got that, and then I can grab my torque wrench, and we're going to look at the torque spec. Torque spec on this, it says it wants you to mount the left hand cam carrier and tighten all the bolts to 18 Newton meters. And the way they want you to do it is they want you to have 1, 2, 3, and then they want you to go 4, 5, and then you'll go 6, 7, 8, 9. So we'll do that. We'll put it to 18. Okay, so we're at 18 Newton meters. I'll show you guys. 18. And I'm going to move you guys over just a little bit. And then we're going to tighten them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we got all 9 of those. Now, this is going to sound weird, but it's going to be the same as what we did with the cylinder head. It says it wants us to loosen just these 3 middle ones 180. So we'll do that. So we'll go 1, we'll go 2, we'll go 3, and then you have to torque them back down to 18. So I'll show you guys that. So it says loosen the bolts by 180, and then tighten those 3 again to 18. So same way, 1 here, 2, and 3. And then we do that for the other 6 bolts. So then we'll take these 3 here, take the 1 here, 2, and 3, and turn all of those 180. And then you torque them back down to 18. Okay, we got that, and then we have 3 more to go. So we'll go 1 here, 2, 3. And then we'll torque them down. And then we are done. So we have successfully done one side, the cylinder head and the cam carrier. The only thing we really have left on this side is we have the valve cover, and then we have spark plugs and the grommets. We don't want to forget about the grommets. I forgot a spark plug socket. However, I believe these are 14 millimeters, and I should have a 14 millimeter. So I should hopefully be able to still get them out, because I do have new spark plugs for them. Let's try it. All right. There's one spark plug. Since we're here, I don't want to put, we can put the valve cover on and then do the spark plugs, but we're here, it's open. I figured why not just put the new ones in now. And there's the second one. Now they don't look bad, but I have the engine out, so I might as well just replace them since I'm already here. Now, if you buy spark plugs directly from the Subaru dealership, they will already come pre-gapped, so they will be gapped to your vehicle. So I don't have to gap these at all. I can just place them in. This is hard to do without a spark plug socket, but we got it. And then we can grab this guy. Putting these in, super easy. Tighten it until you can't with your hands. And then what you'll do is you'll grab your ratchet, 2 fingers. Try to show you guys, 2 fingers, and you're just gonna go until it's hard for just your 2 fingers to do it. So like right there is good. And then you're gonna do that for the other 3, but obviously just the 1 for this side. So let me get the other spark plug. And again, these old ones don't look bad. Here's the old one compared to the new one. Yes, this one's dirty, but I mean, who knows? This Subaru or this Forester has 126,000 miles. So those could potentially be the original ones. Not saying they are, because I don't know, but they very well could be. They don't look like they're the original ones. But I could be wrong. So we're going to tighten this. Okay, then we'll grab the ratchet. tighten 2 fingers, and that's it. Boom. Cylinder head on, cam carrier on, new spark plugs are in. And so now we are able to start working on the valve cover to cover all this up so stuff doesn't get inside of it. I am checking the arms to make sure they're not super loose. They don't feel loose, they feel good, because obviously you don't want to flip, you don't want them falling out when you flip the engine over to do the other side, but they feel good. All right. Valve covers are very easy. I believe it is this one that I need. Yes, it is. Perfect. You want to make sure you have all of your bolts. So these are 10mm bolts. I kept them in the head so I didn't lose them. So I'm going to loosen them up. And you don't want to lose them in the head. That would not be good. Just like I did there, but luckily it landed. I can show you this on here. Rocker arm cover. All right, so again, this is the right side. We need the left side. Here's the left side. We already have those in. We'll get the grommets in and apply the gasket. So I'll bring you over here to do the grommet installation. This one's super easy. You have 2 spark plug tube grommets that look just like this, and literally all you do is where your spark plugs go, which is right here, you're going to just, there's only one side you can put it on here, you're just going to push it down just like that, and then you'll do the same to that one. So let me put this one on. Perfect. And that is going to seal right here and not allow oil to get past it. Okay, so you'll have 2 different grommets, or 2 different gaskets. Obviously one is for the left side, one is for the right side. It's really pretty self-explanatory. They're only going to fit one way. This one has the 2 bumps here. The other one also has the 2 bumps, but this one is a little different than this one. They are pretty similar. They might actually be close to the same, but they can literally only go one way. So you'll be able to just set this in. Just want to set it in like that. Boom, so we're in. Now what we have to do is we're going to have to put 3-bond on it. We have to put a lot of 3-bond on our Subarus. Now for this, I'll show you the tablet. It wants you only in 4 different spots each side, so here, 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 and here. And I'll show you that on the actual one, it'll be these indents. It'll be from the flat down to this flat, and then it'll be flat down to the flat. Here it'll be this flat, it'll go down to the flat here, and then same here, flat down to the flat here. You just want to get the ones that are kind of grooved so that they seal properly, and I'll show you the results after. But again, like a 3mm bead, nothing too crazy. There we go. All right. Have it on, and like I said, let me grab a flashlight to really show you guys, because again it's getting dark, but it's just on both of those sides, and it's on both of these sides. So this side and this side. Putting this on, very, very simple. It's only gonna go on one way. There's this little lip guy here. That's gonna go up against here. Both of those little humps are gonna go on the cam cap. So what you'll do, you just wanna make sure that you have everything in. We have the grommets in, we have new spark plugs in, we have the gasket, and we have the 3-bond. There's nothing else we need to put in here. So what we can do is we can just set it on, push it down, and then you can grab your bolts with a 10mm socket, because all of these are 10mm. Let me grab that quick. There it is. All right. Now I would just hand tighten them for now, like just so you get a couple threads in there. And then I can just zip these down a little bit. Now torquing these down, 2 of them you aren't going to worry about, because they hold on a plate that covers the injectors. I did put them in there just so we don't lose them. So what we're going to do is we're going to torque them down. If you look here, it says 6.4 Newton meters. Now, this thing I believe only goes down to 6.8, so 6.8 will be fine. Yeah, 6.8 Newton meters. And then what you can do is it wants you to just go in a star pattern. So we'll go 1 here. There's 1. There's 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. And then I'll do these 2 as well, just to make sure it's like torque down and the 3-bond sets. Okay, and then we'll go in a circle just to make sure, because when you tighten the first one down, it might not be as tight as you want it to be because you're tightening everything else down. Okay, we have one side completed. So now what we can do is we can take the engine and we can flip it and start doing the other side. And now we can start doing the head on this one. And it's going to be the exact same. So now we have officially completed our long block on this Forester. So next we will do the upper oil pan. So let me get all set up for that and I will show you guys that. Alright you guys, so now we have the lower oil pan, the pickup tube, and the thermostat and the thermostat housing. Again, you want to make sure you have a clean surface. This one does. And then you want to make sure you take these 2 10 mils out that hold the pickup tube. And then I'll put those off to the side for now. Here is the new pickup tube. I got a new one because the old one was full of bearing material and I did not want to risk it. So we have an O-ring that we are going to set right here. I'm going to get a little bit of oil and I'll oil it up. And then, like I always say, for most of this, when you're rebuilding an engine, it really only goes one way. Obviously you can't put it that way. You can't put the oil pan on. So it's gonna go this way. You're gonna take those 2 bolts that you just took out. You're gonna be very careful and you're just gonna start tightening them down. You do not want to drop them into the block. You will probably be able to get it out, but I would not take that risk if I were you. You're gonna push that down, tighten each side, and it's good. I'm sure there is a torque spec. It's most likely like the valve covers at like 6.2 or 6.4 Newton meters. So that should be fine. That's probably over torqued if anything. So we have our new pickup tube in. We have to do now our lower oil pan, our thermostat, and our thermostat housing. Now with the oil pan, here is the oil pan. I am going to reuse the old one, and the oil pan has 2 gaskets. One goes here and one goes here. Let me show you those. They're both the same, so you don't have to worry about which one goes where, because they can both go in either one. And they look like this. So these are your oil pan O-rings, and you're just gonna put it there, and you're gonna put it there. Doesn't matter which side it's on, doesn't matter if it's flipped or not. Just push it so they're down and not gonna fall out. And then you have those all set. Now you're gonna grab your 3-bond once again, and you're gonna put it on the pan. They tell you you can put it on here. I like putting it on the pan because then you know for a fact it's gonna seal properly. So I'm gonna do that quick and then I'll show you. So it's gonna show you on the actual upper oil pan, but it's just gonna be a nice 3mm bead around this edge. And I will show you on the actual oil pan itself because that's what we're gonna put it on. But it's really easy. Again, you wanna make sure, clean surface, that's in correctly with the O-ring. And you want to make sure those 2 O-rings are on for your oil pan. And then that's all you need for this. So I'm going to start putting this on. Here is what it looks like. It's going to be just a nice bead on the inside of the circles. Don't go on the outside. Inside of the circles all the way around. And then this pan is going to go on one way, the long side, and then the short side. So I got to flip this. We'll flip it upside down, and you want to make sure you get that oil pickup tube in. You push it down, line it up, and push it down. Now you want to grab your 10mm screws, which of course are not where I put them. Take your 10mm screws. You want to take a 10mm with an extension. Set some cans full, and then you're going to want to just put them in. Now again, these have a torquing sequence and they have a torquing spec. It's going to be about 10 Newton meters or so. I use my electric guy, and I just tighten them that way, and that works perfectly fine. You just don't want to overdo it, because if you just keep hammering on it, you're going to break the bolt. You break the bolt, you have to take this pan back off, clean the block and the pan, get a new bolt, and extract that bolt that broke, which is not what we want. Okay, so with those started, I'll just go one here. Then I'll go this side. Then I'll go one here. And I'll just go in a circle. Perfect. And then you have your lower oil pan installed. I am going to put a new crush washer onto this. And I'm just going to put this in here for now. I'll actually torque it down just to make sure it's done and ready so I don't forget. Here's a 14. It is a 14 millimeter, and we're going to want to torque it to 35 foot-pounds. The drain plug is something that you want to make sure you torque, because you don't want it falling out and then you have oil everywhere. And then you're doing this all over again. Cool. Oil pan is set. So lower oil pan, upper oil pan, both heads, both cam carriers, and both valve covers with all 4 spark plugs have been installed. So we now have the thermostat and the housing, and then I forgot as well, we have the engine mounts that we want to put on. That I will do after the thermostat though. So let me grab the new thermostat. Here's the new thermostat. You want to make sure the thermostat, when you take out, you want to kind of make sure you remember where this little guy goes. I know that this will go towards the water pump. So there it is there. It's going to be facing in line with the fuel or the water pump. And then since that's in, once again, so this one already has the new gasket around the thermostat, so you don't need one here. This is dirty, but it's fine. There's nothing inside of it, so we're good there. Again, this will only go one way. You can't put it that way. It's going to hit the upper or the lower oil pan, so it has to go this way. So we'll put that in. I will grab this. Cool. We have those in, and now we will put the engine mounts in. Let me grab those. Now the engine mounts are going to be one of those things that you kind of want to make sure you know which side goes on which, because if you put them in the wrong way, you're not going to be able to put it in the car. These ones, just wait 1 second. Let me grab the other one quick. So you're going to end up having both of them pointing away from each other, like this way, not in towards each other. So these ones you can see are angled like this, and then this one's angled like this. If you flip them, they're going to be angled inside like this, and you don't want that. You want it angled outside. So we'll do that. They are, looks like 14 millimeter bolts that we can just start threading in here. All right. And with that, we now have everything underneath the engine, at the bottom of the engine, the sides of the engine, minus the wiring. Everything is done. We have our new thermostat and the housing, our lower oil pan, our upper oil pan, our heads, cam carriers, valve covers, and now we just installed the last thing, which is our engine mount. So we will flip this back over. We'll flip it this way. And now we can start working on the top. This is why I don't like this mount, because now it's going to be crooked like that, but that's fine. The top's pretty easy. Not a whole lot to do. These did fall out. These are just little channel runners that go in the actual cylinder head like this. Just helps kind of split the air coming in through the intake. Each side has a set. They only go in one way. You cannot put them in another way. Otherwise they will not fit. Yeah, so you can just slide them right in. I really wish this thing would just stay upright, but it won't. Now what we can do is we could do timing right now, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the intake first and then we'll do timing. That way everything's kind of done. We have our little crossover that goes here. Let me see if I can grab that. So we have this guy. Back this up a little bit. We have this guy here that has all the wiring for like the coil packs and our coolant routing and all that stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all the gaskets we need and we will install them, and I will show you how we can do all this. Camera's at 8%, so I'm going to try and get this intake on before it dies, but there's one there and there's one there, and then there's two that go on this plastic little connector here. So you want to put two new ones on that. They are different than the first ones I showed you, but they will need to be replaced when you take this off. And then what you can do is it honestly just falls right on. 4 bolts for these here. So you take your bolts, you'll just line it up, take your bolts, again, I leave the bolts in where they go, that way I remember where they are, don't lose them, none of that stuff. Okay, and then get this one. They are 10 millimeters. My phone is ringing. I think it's Jameson, because I called him asking if I accidentally left my car keys in his Miata, because he dropped off those stuff for me. But I quickly realized that I have them. They're in the house. So I will have to call him back in a second. Okay. So we have that on. Let me loosen these up a little bit so that I can move this around. Okay, we'll tighten this up. Then I gotta move this sensor out of the way. Make sure these are tight. Okay, so those two are on. Then we can grab this. And I accidentally lost one of these 10 mils because it fell into the old block. So for now, I'm just going to steal this one because it's the same length. Tighten this down. Just make sure it's tight. All right. And now we can start plugging some of these in. Like these two are grounds we'll put here. This is exactly where they go. Kind kept the bolts in it so I remember where the bolts are. Okay, and those are 12 mils. Both of those are good. These connectors back here, I'm at 2%, so I'm going to show you this and I'll charge it quick. But one goes onto here and the other goes onto this crank position sensor. So you'll hear a click there. And then I have to just loosen this bolt up and spin it so I can put this one on. I'm going to do that and then I will be back. Camera's charged up to about 50%. So while that was charging, I did do a couple things, just things that are really simple. I, for starters, put the injectors and the fuel rail on. Again, it's really easy. There's two seals that go on it. They look like this, just little circles. You just put them in there, and then you just set the injectors in there, and there are two 10 mils that you tighten them down with, and then they're in. And then you just plug them in. There's only one connector that'll fit in here, and then the same with here. And I did that for this side as well. And it's just the same thing. Two O-rings, put the injectors in, two 10s, plug it in. I also put this EGR slash coolant in here. It's just a gasket and two 10 mils that you set on there. Let me see if I can find the gasket quick. Right here. It just looks like this. You just slide down those two studs and then tighten it down. And then I just plugged some stuff in. Like I showed you guys, I plugged this in and the crank sensor in. I also plugged, again, the injectors in. And I think that's about it. Oh, I did do the coil packs as well. We already put the spark plugs in, but the long one, there's two different size ones, like length. The short one will go to the closest, the long one will go in there. And that's the same for the other side too. There's two 10 mils that go in there and I'll hold it down. That's all we've done so far. But the next step is we're actually going to put the intake manifold on, which is going to be really cool. So let me grab the manifold and then we can do that. We got a cool little caterpillar. Look at that guy. I haven't seen one of those in a long time. That looks like this. And then that's it. That's how you do it. Nope, I'm just kidding. Okay, we're gonna want our gaskets. Let me go put this down. I'll grab our gaskets. We're gonna have two gaskets, one for each side. Look like that. Let me take these. Again, I kept the bolts in here, so I just have to take them out quick. All right. So for the one side, oops. There's two different kind of sides for both of them. They're both the same. You can put them on either side, but this ear here is a lot longer than this side. So because of that, that means you're going to put the longer ear on the longer side. And it's going to be the same for this side. The longer ear on this side. The hard part is going to be holding that in while putting the manifold on. But what you can do is you can put a bolt in that manifold to kind of line it up. And then you should be good. Now you want to make sure you put this on correctly. You don't want to put it where the throttle body is facing the front, because that throttle body goes on the back side. So you're going to just very lightly set it down, because again, this isn't really being held, or that gasket's not being held, so it's just going to move around. So you're going to want to find a way to hold it down. I got to move some of these things though. And what I can do is I can grab a bolt, I can put it in here, and I can try. I'm going to actually unplug the injector. Now let me grab my... Okay. Because now I can move this out of the way. Put this down. I'll grab the other side bolt and put it in the other side as well, because right now this gasket is already kind of moved. That's my phone ringing again. Ow, it fell on my finger. It's gonna take a couple tries to try and really move this thing in the right spot, because right now I can see it's pretty far off. It's being held on by something, and I'm pretty sure I know what. Okay. So what I found is being held on to by, let me grab a flashlight. This metal pipe right here is gonna go right here. Sorry, I'm trying to hold on to this while holding onto the camera while showing you guys. So this pipe here is gonna go onto here, and I had the two 10 mils on here. So what you're gonna wanna do is you wanna put that on first, and then you can line it up. You're gonna want a new gasket, so I'm gonna take this gasket off. Take that off, and then we'll replace it with a new one. And then it'll fall right in. Now again, right now the gasket's not lined up, so you're gonna wanna make sure it's lined up. So you're gonna have to lift this manifold up a couple times, kind of get one of the ears in line with the hole, and then you can drop your bolt in there, but make sure you're actually in between both of them and not just trying to force that bolt down into the gasket, because that would not be good. But we'll grab a extension, our 12 mil, and very lightly bring it down. Now I see that the gasket is lined up and it is going in. Okay, we're good there. And a good way to tell if it's lined up is it won't be pushed out of the manifold. You'll see it sticking out if it's not in. Again, there is a torque spec to these. I believe it's 25 Newton meters, but this will be fine. So I only really torque down like heads, obviously, cam carriers, valve covers, timing cover. This, and like upper oil pan, lower oil pan for the most part. Upper oil pan for sure. Lower oil pan, it's 6.8 Newton meters. So you can use that guy and just give it a couple taps and it won't hurt anything. So I'm gonna plug this back in. We'll plug this fuel line in, push that down, plug this fuel line in, push that down. So now I'm just kind of finding with this, it's very, it seems like it's gonna be a lot because there's a lot of wires. It's really not that bad. Everything has a spot to go to. It only really goes to one spot. Can you force something on there? Yes. Are there some that might fit on there? Yes. But for the most part, a wire can only be stretched so far. So if you don't know where it goes, stretch it to the left, see, okay, there's no connectors, stretch it to the right, no connectors, and then you'll eventually find your connector and it'll be right in front of you. All right, you guys, it is the next day. It was getting pretty dark and late, so I decided to kind of call it for the night. We have made some pretty darn good progress. Right now what we have to do still is we have to put the covers on that cover the injectors and the fuel rail, which are going to be these guys here. And then when we put those on, we can then really start putting like accessories on. We can start doing timing and the timing cover. Let me grab one of these and we can start putting it on. So we will start on this side. So like I said, when we were torquing down these valve covers, there's going to be two bolts that you are not really going to have to torque right now when you do this, because you have to take them off anyways to put this on, because that's what holds this. You can just line it up. It goes into these little slots here. I can try to show you guys a little bit better. In the intake manifold, there's two little slots right there, and that is what's going to help you. That's where you're going to put these guys. There'll be these, and then there'll be the ones where the 10mm bolts go. That'll slide in here, and then you can see kind of what two bolts you have to take out. So we know this one and this one. So what I'll do is I'll take them out. Again, I torqued them the other day just so I knew we didn't have to put these on right away. So I torqued them just to keep pressure on that RTV so it would dry. So put this guy in, then we have the other guy in. All right, tighten those two down, and now you have your little cover here for your injectors and your fuel rail. And then we'll do the exact same thing on this side, but since this engine stand kind of sucks, the engine's kind of tilted, so I wanted to show you the higher up one. All right, something we want to make sure of before we put the timing on is this one doesn't have this plate. If you are just rebuilding yours and you're using the block that you already have, you should have one. This one didn't, so I just took it off of the old one. There's no gasket or anything that goes there. It's literally just this plate and a couple 10 mils. All right. Wow, I can't hold on to them. And then our final one right here. Okay, now we can put timing on. Okay, you guys, so I'm gonna try and get you like as straight on as I can. Obviously, I don't want to be in the way, but I want to show you guys how to do this. So the way we can do this, it's really not hard to do timing on these, but it is one of those things that's very important. If you're a tooth off, if you're a couple teeth off, it will either hurt your engine or it just won't run right. One tooth off, you'll probably have some timing codes. It'll still run, but it'll run really crappy. If you're like way off, you will potentially bend your valves because of them hitting your pistons, because these are interference engines. So don't let that scare you. It's really not that hard. What you're gonna do is you're gonna start on it will be the driver's side, the left-hand side, because that's the one where the timing chain will go on first. And what you wanna do is, let me try to get you close. On these cam sprockets, there's an arrow. So if you can see this arrow right here, and then there's an arrow on the bottom one right here. You want this arrow right here to be facing down this way, and you want this arrow here to be facing up like this. Here is the timing sheet. So like I said, that arrow for the bottom is going to be facing up, and the arrow up top is going to be facing down that way. Now when you do this, let me grab my ratchet right here. When you do this, you're going to want to make sure that your keyway is facing at the 6 o'clock position. Okay, this doesn't have to be perfect, but that keyway, let me try to unlock this. That keyway right here is facing straight down in the 6 o'clock position. Once it's facing at that 6 o'clock position, you then want to get your crank socket. Your crank socket, it's a 23 mil. It's just gonna have that keyway right here that'll fit right on that little key. You want to put that on there, and you want to go counterclockwise until that keyway is facing this little pin right here. So the keyway is right here. It's going to be facing this right here. So it'll be just like that. When you do that, you can then take your chain, which is going to look like this, and you're going to have a couple different colors. You'll have two of these orange ones right here. Thank you. There it is. Two of these orange ones, one here and one here. And then you'll have like a yellow one, which is this one. Those two orange ones are going to go on the cam sprockets. And I will show you this here in a second. I will show you how this is going to go. Push this up. Okay. So like I said, those two orange ones are going to go on the cams. The cams themselves are going to have marks. This little slit right here, you want to make sure that is lined up with this orange. Right in between these two links, or these two circles, you want to make sure that is right in the middle. With this one, there is a dot right here. You want to make sure that is lined up with that. Then finally, with this back one, you want to make sure this is lined up. I'm going to try and get you to see this. Right here is a mark on the cam, or on the crank keyway. There's a mark right here that you want to make sure is lined up with that. And once you have that, you can then put in your tensioners to kind of tighten it up. Okay, so when we do that, we are then going to have one of our tensioners. This guy is going to go up on top, and it's going to go right here. I'll show you that. This guy, for the left side, there's going to be one little hole here, and there's going to be a little peg, stud, whatever, right here. Dowel, we'll call it. So you'll have that, and then you're just going to slide this right on there, and it'll sit there. Now you'll have a tensioner here to hold this down, but you have one that you have to put on here as well. Now when you take these off, obviously you're going to have these two. One's going to go on one side, one's on the other. For the non-turbo, this has no turbo, this is NA. So the non-turbo, it does not matter how these go. When you have a turbo, that's when it's going to matter. This one, obviously, being a non-turbo, won't matter. So what we can do, lift this up. You're going to have 3 spots. You'll have one here where that dowel can go. The other dowel will go here, and then this is where a Allen bolt will go. You'll just slide it right on here. You just want to make sure that the chain is on the guide. You don't want it a little bit on, a little bit off. You want to make sure it is fully seated on there, which it looks good to me. Okay, so we checked to make sure this is all good. You want to make sure that these are still lined up, which they are. And then to tighten this bolt down, I forget exactly what size it is. Let me try to grab one. That'll work. So it's going to be a 4.5 millimeter, it looks like. And then you can just tighten that right in. Nope, 4.5 seems to be a little bit too small, actually. So it might be a 5. Yes. So it's a 5 millimeter. Don't need it super tight, just like that. So now I can grab our tensioner. With these tensioners, they really only go in one spot because they're a little different. because of how the bolts are. These ones are really spread apart while these ones are closer together. So there's a bolt here and a bolt here compared to a bolt here and a bolt here. This one is going to have the longer one where it's the bolt up here and the bolt here. Let me put this one down. Okay, so next we have to put the actual like chain tensioner on. There is one O-ring that's going to go right here behind the tensioner. And let me grab the tensioner quick. So here's the tensioner. Now typically we're going to have a pin that we can put in right here to kind of hold this down. I don't have one, so what we have to do is we have to push this back down. So you want to hold in your hand kind of like this. You want to push this. When you push this, you can see this is moving. Push it down a little bit, and you want to bring this up, and then you can move this down, and then when you let go, you can hear it clicking. It is hard to do when you don't have anything holding this, because it's just going to want to keep moving. So I would recommend getting like a paper clip or something just to set in there, so that you can not have to, you don't have to hold this. So let's see if we can do this just like that. Okay, so I think we have our plan. You want to make sure you don't drop this O-ring. Push it down like that. We'll grab one of our 10 mils. Put it here. Keep pressure on this. Grab our other 10 mil. Put it right there. And tighten. Okay. And just like that, we have our chain. Now this is still very, very loose because we need to extend that tensioner. Before you do that, you want to make sure that your timing is good by those marks that I told you about, which this one is good. So then what you can do, you can take, you want to be very careful because this is just plastic. You can take a little pry bar and just push it down. All right. Now that seems pretty tight. We'll go here. Try to get one more click. Okay. And that's good. Perfect. And then you have one side done for timing. And now we have to do the other side. Okay, so now that we have this one done for timing, now we have to start doing this side. This side is just as easy as the other side. I will show you guys this real quick. For this, just like the other side, you have arrows. The arrow is right here, and the arrow is right here. You want both of those arrows facing towards each other. Just like that. Arrows here, they're facing each other. Now with the crank, what you want is you want to go counterclockwise and have that keyway go at 6 o'clock. So let me grab this. I'll put this right here. So you'll go counterclockwise. And you want that right there at about 6 o'clock. That keyway that I showed you guys, you want it straight down. And now you can put the other chain on. So I will grab it. And just like the other side, there will be the two oranges here and here. These ones are kind of worn down, but here and here. And then we'll have the one yellow right here. Two oranges will go on the cam, on those spots. Those little slits, which I will show you. And then we go. I will show you guys this here in a second. I just want to put these on really quick. This guy will go up on top. It's going to be the opposite now. So this guy's going to go up on top here. Just make sure those chains are there. Then we'll tighten it. Just like that. Then I'll grab this other guy and I'll put it down here. I just want to do this to make sure it's tightened. You want to make sure that this right here is the chain is riding on that. I'm going to wipe this down really quick. Okay. Just like that. Okay, now I can show you guys what it looks like. So like I said, right here, there's a slot right here. You want that lined up. You want that circle lined up. And then you want this guy, I'm trying to focus it, but there's a mark right here that you want lined up there. Once you have those, you can put your guides on like I just did, and then we can put our tensioner on. The second tensioner on the passenger side is going to does not have a gasket, does not have an O-ring. It is just the tensioner, so you don't have to worry about putting anything in there. I want to set this down. Like I said before, you'll push it down, bring it forward, and that whole thing will push down. And then you can, I'm going to have to do it while doing this, but that'll be fine. Tighten it there. Tighten it here, and then we'll tighten it down. All right, now before you, because this is still pretty loose, so you're gonna have to put that pry bar in there and open it up to tighten it a little bit, but you want to make sure that everything is good. This timing is good here, this timing is good here, and then this one is lined up here. So that's good. Now what we can do is we can grab our pry bar, just like this. And you don't want to really, I mean, you can try to go here, but just be careful not to break this tip, because that tip is pretty fragile. You'll just lift it a little bit until you hear a click. Okay, so had a couple clicks. What you want is you want a minimum of 4 ridges on this tensioner. I'll try to show you guys. Let me grab a flashlight. So here's the tensioner, and on the side you can see that there's these little ridges. You want to be able to see at least minimum 3 of those ridges. 4 is better. What you want to do is you want to put it on, and when you have a pin and you pull it, you want to at least have 1 more click. And then you can feel it. This is tight. This is tight. And now we are done with timing. And now we can put our actual timing cover on, which is awesome, because that means we are basically done rebuilding this, and we can throw it back in the engine or in the car. To put this timing cover on, we're gonna have a couple O-rings. We'll have one here. We will have one here. We will have one here. We'll have one here. And then that should be it. I believe there are 4. You're gonna want to replace this O-ring here. So let me just grab this little pick and we will pick it right out. Okay, just like that. And then we can put our new one in. Just like that. Perfect. Now, we will have our other O-rings for the timing cover. And like I said, I'm going to put a little bit of oil on them. I'll put a little bit of oil on the other one as well, just to make sure. Okay. So we're going to have one right here. Now again, you want to be very careful. Don't let these drop into like the oil pan or something. Boom. Then you can set them there. And then you are ready to start putting 3-bond on the timing cover, and then we can start putting it in. Okay, so we have those O-rings in the block. So now what we can do is we can start putting the 3-bond on the timing cover. This will definitely give you a forearm workout if you're using one of these, but you'll be able to do it. It'll be all good. What we're gonna do is the same as like the heads, same as the cam carriers. It's all the same surface. There'll be a little ledge here. You're gonna want a 3mm bead all the way around, right in the middle. And then there's these 5 spots here. Bring it a little closer. Here, 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 and here. Those 5, you're gonna put 3-bond around them in like a little circle. So I will show you. I have a new bottle here, so I will start doing this. Also, what you want to do before you do that, don't want to forget this. The easiest way to get this timing cover on without messing around with it is you're gonna want some guides. Now what you can do is you can go to any hardware store, grab one of the bolts from the timing cover. You want to get the one with the same thread and pitch count, and then just get one that's longer, chop the bolt end off, and then you'll have just the threads. And then what you can do is when you have just threads, you can put them right here and say right here, and they'll just thread in there just like the bolts for the timing cover will. And then what you can do is you'll be able to just slide the timing cover on, and it'll just guide it right on there without having to worry about messing anything up, hitting anything like that. Let me take these bolts out really quick just so they're out of our way. Don't need them super tight, just enough to where, you know, they're not gonna fall. So just like that. You wanna make sure those are in too. That way you're not looking around trying to find them, and then this dries and then you have to redo it. So I'm gonna start doing this. And again, just a nice bead around it. Don't need anything too crazy. You're not going to be super fast when you do this for the first time, but it is certainly a forearm workout, I will tell you that, so be prepared. And I'll do this. All right, so we have a little bit more. Whew. My forearm is killing me right now. Okay, so we got all the way around, and now what we can do is you want to go just around these. Okay, and now we are ready to start putting this on the actual block. So I will move this over here. And we'll kind of show you guys how we can do this. Again, you want to make sure you have your O-rings. So we have this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. There's 4 total here. We'll check to make sure everything's clean, which everything is. This needs a little bit. There we go. And then we can check timing again. Again, you want to kind of do this before, but it'll be fine. So we got that there, that there. Those 2 are lined up. This and then that. Okay. So we are good to put this on. Now what we'll do, lift this up. And those pins that I was telling you about, we can fit them right on the guides. And when we do that, you can let go. You don't have to worry about it. Then you can just guide it right on. And just like that, we have our timing cover on. Now, we want to grab our bin full of bolts, and you want to start putting them on here. Now, there is a couple long ones. They're 12 mil. There's 12 mil and 10 mil in here. There's 5 10 mil and I think like 30. No, it's probably like 28 12 mil. These longer 12 mils are gonna go on the outside. There's gonna be one that's hidden and it goes right there. And then we'll have 2 more that go on this side. So let me find those right here. So we'll put it here and we'll put it here. Now the rest of the 12 mils can just go around. Doesn't matter where they go. They're all the same. But these 10 mils are gonna go in the middle here. So there's gonna be 1 long 10 mil. Some of them have 2. I believe this one only has, nope, this one does have 2. Those are going to be on the outside here and here. Okay. Alrighty. Just gonna set these all around. Okay, I'm gonna tighten these up just a little bit so it's sealed. Alright, so now we're just going to go all around with the 12s. And then the other 2, we got to take these pins out. Alright, and then we can put them where those pins went. Alrighty. One guy goes there. You're going to want to do the 10 mils first. You're going to want to start from the inside and go out. And it's going to be 10 Newton meters. Got one there. 2, 3. Hope I didn't zip this guy in. Let me grab the zippy guy quick. And then we have one more over here. 5. Then we can grab our 12 mil, and it's going to be 25 Newton meters for the 12s. Now, there is a torquing sequence that they want you to do. My tablet died, so this is pretty close to what it's going to be, but it's going to be the first 3 up on top. Then it's the next 3 from here down, and then we'll go back up here. You're just kind of rotating back and forth, but it is 25 Newton meters. And then you just kind of go in a circle again like we do with all the other ones and make sure they're all torqued. Perfect, and then we'll do the same with the 10s in the middle. We gotta make sure we drop that. I almost did that, but we gotta drop it down to 10. There we go. Got one here and one there. Awesome. And just like that, we have all of that back together. All right, so we have our water pump pulley, which is gonna go right here. And then you'll see there's 2 different size holes. You want the smaller ones because that's the 10 mils that go in there. Okay, I will grab this with our 10 mil and I'll just tighten those down. Perfect. So we got that on. We can get our front crank on. Front crank, we're gonna have this. There's gonna be a keyway that you'll put obviously on the key for the crank. And then there's these flat parts here that you're gonna line up with the oil pump and the timing cover. Now again, it'll only go on one way, so you can start turning and then it'll literally just push right in. It will be almost touching the timing cover. That's how close it's gonna get. Let me grab, I forget what size these are. I think this is a 23 or 24. So let me grab it quick. It's a 22. Okay, with our 22. And again, there's a torque spec for this as well, but I will show you what we are going to do because I don't have a tool to hold that. And, well, I guess I do. We might be able to. Let's try it. Okay, so we want to torque this to 60 Newton meters. I just put a pry bar in the flex plate to hold it. So we'll try to torque this. Okay, it's at 60. And then what we want is we want it at 60 degrees. So let's do that. Okay, and then it's torqued. So now we have the crank pulley on. Now we can put this guy on. He goes right here. This is pretty rusty, but we're gonna run with it for now. Just so we can get this thing running. I wanna see how it's running and see if there's anything else we kind of need with it. That one's super easy to replace anyways, so we'll be good there. But yeah, so now we have officially put together this engine. It is pretty close into being able and being ready to put into the Forester. The only thing we need, and I'm just gonna probably put the alternator on, and we're gonna have to put the AC compressor bracket on here, which I can do really quick, is just this guy right here. The reason why we have to put it on here is because there is this bracket here that we have to use in order to put the engine on the engine hoist. Set this down like here. I need some of these longer ones in the back. Ooh. And that is a 14 millimeter, so I will grab that. And tighten them. Okay. This guy is going to attach to the alternator when we put it on. And there we go. Just like that, we have officially rebuilt this engine. So thank you guys for watching. I very much appreciate it. Obviously, there's a couple more little things you got to do. A couple hoses, just connect them. Oil filter. And that's basically about it. But that is how you successfully rebuild an engine on a 2011 Forester. It's honestly simple. Don't let this video stop you. It might look scary, but it's very, very easy. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I very much appreciate it. Next video will be us putting this engine in the Forester and trying to see if it will run. So thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys next time.